Second try. Second try. If somebody's on, let me know if you can hear me well. Please drop me a little word. Let me know if you can hear me well or if I still sound really strange, like robotic. Okay, B, you're saying you can hear me well, right? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying that you are on? Let me see. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining back again. Thank you. That's what happens when you're your own tech. Just getting better and better. I'm getting better. Own tech. All right, guys, we're on. Okay. Oh, how was your week? How was your last couple of weeks from the last time we saw each other? For anyone who's in astrology, perfect. Thank you, me too. For anyone who's in astrology and feeling really intense, like deep energies happening, there's a lot going on in the cosmos right now. There's a lot of things that are happening that haven't happened in the past, definitely in the past 248 years. But then more closely, we're stopping some patterns that have been repeating in our lives, maybe for the past 10, 8 years. And then some of those cycles are closing. So the planets are aligned in a way that can really be impactful. For the people who don't believe in astrology, you might feel some kind of way. I understand why. I have an explanation why, because it's a time we're going through something right now. So if you guys are feeling it, let me know. If you guys felt any kind of deep way, let me know. Share with me, and also let me know, how was your week? How did your week go? My week was pretty intense. It was good. Um, but I did feel the energies very, very, very strongly, you know, and things happening strangely. Have you noticed anything strange happening around you? That's another thing too. Have you guys noticed strange little things happening in around you for the past maybe week, 2 weeks, even today, yesterday? The planets are aligning. Okay, I'm done. You see, I'm drinking my Aquarius mug through my Aquarius mug right now, so I'm really in full mode astrology. See, B, if you feel the weirdness in the air, yes, it's all of us. We're all in it. My little Aquarius mugs. I'm really into this astrology thing. For the people who did not know that about me, but we're not here to talk about astrology. But of course, if you guys want to talk about astrology, let me know. But today we're here to talk about forgiveness and reconciliation again. So last 2 weeks, we really went deep. Yeah, emotions have been high. Yes, yes. And you might even get into a place where you had really cutthroat conversations with some people. Like you flew off the rails, right? Or someone flew off the rails towards you. Things like that. Things breaking down, things not really working well, uncanny things happening, unusual things. Anyway, okay. Back to the subject at hand. But it's all the same. It's all the same. Because as we're talking about reconciliation and forgiveness, when the skies are aligned in the way that they are aligned right now, it might not be as forgive. It might not be as easy to reconcile or to be able to reconcile in a positive and productive way because the energies might be too high and it might be a time to just slow down and do nothing, right? So you have to take those types of things into considerations. There are some people who don't make decisions around certain times of based off of the positions of the planets because they know that the energies are not favoring to them at the time. Okay. So as we're talking about reconciliation, as we're talking about forgiveness, the context does matter. What you're going through does matter. What we're talking about here is very theoretical, very matter of fact. But in reality, when we say, you forgive, and after forgiveness, you do reconciliation, you kind of mend that relationship and put it back together, we make it sound so simple. But in fact, forgiveness has different levels to it, and there's a process. Forgiveness is not an event, reconciliation is not an event. These things are processes because we go through things and because some days we feel better than not, which is why developing your personal awareness is key, right? You want to be able to develop your personal awareness so that you can be mindful of those things in your life and so that you can take those into account when you interact with people or even when you interact with yourself. Reconciliation. Last week, we spoke a lot about forgiveness and we went deep into it. And we said that forgiveness is something that has to do with you. It's not something that has to do with anybody else. It's something that a gift that you give to yourself. The best definition to wrap up the forgiveness so we can really move on to reconciliation, because that's what we're going to talk about today. Forgiveness is letting go of the debt. So if somebody wronged you, if somebody took something from you, you're going to want payback, repayment. See? So forgiveness is telling the person, okay, you don't owe me. Okay. Where I'm okay. Like I'm taking the loss, right? Like I'm not expecting anything from you. I'm releasing this situation. We're done with it. Forgiveness is something that you choose. Reconciliation is now, am I going to let you use my thing again? So let's say I had my tablet. Somebody in my mind did it on purpose, broke it. There's going to be a process for me to forgive that person. But like, you know what? It's fine. You don't need to repay. It's not about repaying me. It's okay. It's fine. Although I'll probably will take a tablet again, being the repayment material. But but what happened is not something that it's okay. I'm not going to break your thing too so you can feel the pain that I felt. I'm letting this go. Reconciliation is, will we be able to, will I share this with you? Will I trust you enough to let you use this again? I'm gonna have to kind of start letting you use it like 1 minute at a time, like so ease you into it. So reconciliation is a process up until the point that you get to restoration. Restoration is when you pass forgiveness, you pass reconciliation, and now the relationship is restored. We're back to even better than how we were before, right? So that's reconciliation, and that's what we're going to talk about. Ingrid is going to join us, but somehow she's not online. And you guys know Ingrid is in Switzerland, so she maybe might not even join us. We don't know. We're going to give her a few minutes. It was supposed to be 8:20 and she's not there. That's fine. But guys, as you're the ones who are listening, share with me a little bit what has been your experience with forgiveness and reconciliation. Because for me, reconciliation is, as I've been preparing for this show and doing some research and really trying to better understand this complexity of reconciliation. But mainly what I was looking for is, should we reconcile? Like, is reconciliation something that we should generally aim for? Is there some grand reason why reconciliation is like, is reconciliation a superior choice in all instances? Is that ultimately what's going to lead humanity forward in the right direction? Or is it like a touch and go? Like, well, sometimes you forgive, sometimes, like, there's not really a rule to reconciliation. You reconcile if you feel like it, if it's in your benefit, right? Do you reconcile for those reasons? Or if you think about then restoration, do you want restoration of relationship with everyone? Not necessarily. Maybe not. Oh, so you're not. Oh, maybe not. So, I don't know. I feel like reconciliation might be necessary. Here's why I say that. And you guys let me know. Okay, it all depends. See, I don't know. I feel like reconciliation might be a thing because, again, if you have it, like if reconciliation didn't occur, there would always be division in this world. there would always be the death of something because, again, you remember the example of the island that we took? If everybody's on, two people are on the island, a man and a woman. The man and a woman got into a fight. So now they are not talking. One did something to the other. If they, imagine if they chose not to forgive and not to reconcile. That would be the end of humanity. So, okay, so forgiven without giving an apology but did not seek a reconciliation. Yes. So now those two people, okay, I forgive you. The lady's like, you know what? I forgive you. The guy's like, you know what? I forgive you. I forgive you. Okay, reconcile with yourself first. So now, okay. So Kenny, you say you reconcile with yourself. So it means that you're stepping back and you're like, okay, so these are the people on the island. So now the lady's stepping back and like, you know what? Okay, I make peace with myself. I understand what I've done wrong. I get it. So now I'm okay. But now are you not gonna forgive the other person? Beatrice says, yes, I'm gonna forgive the other person. So now the woman or the man, they're forgiving the other one. But we're not reconciling, meaning we're not mending our relationship to move forward. So okay, so you felt like you had to go back to the forgiveness phase because reconciliation was not possible. Yes, because reconciliation does take two people, and that's the thing. The moment that we choose not to reconcile, what happens? So if the girl goes to the guy, okay, I'm ready to reconcile. First of all, it's better for humanity, and then you would see the other person saying, no, I don't know. Wouldn't it be the end of humanity then? Ingrid is gonna join us. I see Ingrid just texted me. Wouldn't it be Oh, le deuxième lien, Ingrid. Wouldn't it be the end of humanity if those two people chose not to reconcile because of what exactly? So one person agrees, the other person doesn't, but then that's the end. So isn't reconciliation something that is just necessary for both parties? Both parties are completely, fully need to be fully invested in it because they are both would both benefit from it equally. From my research that I've done, I know I also read some. I was listening to a pastor pulling up some scriptures to prove that point. I listened to another guy talking about, you know, how they treat American, Canadian Indians in Canada, and all and everything that happened around those people had disenfranchised. They are how vicious the system went towards them. But he had to say, no, I'm going to stand up and build reconciliation because if we keep those two groups separate, how are we ever going to be able to move forward if we don't truly reconcile one with the other? So these people are going to be called these people, and those people are going to be called those people. And there's never going to be a moving forward. And there's likely going to be a decline of one group in the favor of another. So again, is reconciliation not something that is just necessary? I'm always looking for big grand ideas, guys. So that's why I'm looking for something that is a totalitarian thing. But isn't it so? Like I think that nature's law and nature's rule shows us some things that are just universal. It's just universal. And so, isn't reconciliation one of those things that is just universal that we have to all strive for? Because at the end, it's going to be in the benefit of humanity and of everyone. That's what I'm thinking. That's where I got. Okay. Oh, I thought Ingrid was in the lobby. Let me send her the link again. That's where I am. Let me know what you think. I know it's bold. I know it's a bit bold, but just let me know what you think. I don't know that I can justify came naturally after. Okay, yes, in a different situation, reconciliation came naturally after a period of peace. That's right. But then that's good because you see, Beatrice, you saying that is because somehow that person was open to the reconciliation. Because if you go towards someone you cannot reconcile, but you believe, your value is that reconciliation is a must and that's where you need to go, then you always stand by for that reconciliation to occur because you believe that it's going to be in the best interest of everyone if that reconciliation occurred. Again, isn't reconciliation always the ultimate goal so we can get to restoration? Because at the end of the day, We are all one. We are all the same. Somehow not reconciling with others, is it not us not reconciling with ourselves? Like, isn't it all the same? Like, can I say to myself, you know what, I've forgiven myself for this thing, but I'm not reconciled with myself? Let me ask you guys this question. Can you say, if you can say, I'm going to reconcile with, I'm going to forgive this person, but I'm not going to reconcile with them? Can we do the same thing for ourselves in some situations where we say, you know what, and Christy, you kind of effed up in that situation. I'm going to forgive you, but I'm not going to reconcile with you. So we're not never going to move forward in that direction, you and I again. Isn't it maybe how people get stuck too? Oh, salut, salut. Isn't it how people somehow get stuck? We're talking about reconciliation. On parle de réconciliation et de forgiveness. Isn't it ultimately that when we compare it to ourselves, we must reconcile with ourselves constantly? First of all, we must give ourselves constantly because we ain't perfect and we're going to mess up all the time. And we are always a witness of our fuck ups because we live with ourselves. So we will always notice it. We might not be aware of it at the time, but we will know it because we are the witness number one. But then do we say, well, I forgive you. Okay, I'm moving on. But no, I'm not reconciling. I'm never going to try this thing again with you because you suck. You're not trustworthy. Maybe that's why people give up relationships and say, well, I'm never going to be in a relationship. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life because clearly trying to get into a relationship, it's just not working. And so you give up. So you're not reconciling with yourself in that sense and trying again if you're closing the door to something. Reconciliation. I don't know, guys. That's just how I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling a little bit maybe preachy right now, and maybe that's all right. But these are big bold ideas, and I think that's what I'm gonna organize myself a bit better. And that's what the School of Superpowers does. The School of Superpowers is there to talk about those things and to bring those topics up and to challenge ourselves. If we don't reconcile with ourselves, if we don't reconcile with others, are we also allowed to not reconcile with ourselves? Are we also allowed to give that thing up about ourselves? Okay, so you believe that you need to grow and improve emotionally to properly appreciate the reconciliation and receive the lesson that comes with it. Oh, so see, again, you're proving my point, B. I keep really having this deep feeling that we are at the beginning of humanity's evolution. We are dealing with basic things. We are dealing with things that we could have easily overcome. What's the purpose to reconcile with someone who hurt you? What's the purpose of it? You know what? That's a very good question. First of all, there's a lot of benefits to it, but the purpose of forgiving someone is so that you can release the negative feelings and emotions attached to that situation. Because when you hold negative emotions and negative feelings, even though you don't talk to the person anymore, blah, 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 it holds a deep space and it holds you down. It's like a lead. And when you forgive, you are free, you become light, you can fly. That's the difference. So by not forgiving, you're essentially walking around with a pile of rocks on your back. And you're like, well, that's what we're doing. So that's the purpose of it, is to release you so you can be free. You will never forget. Forgiving and forgetting are not the same. You will never forget. Forget is what's on your mind, but if you keep letting the thought traumatize you and now you're in a cycle of suffering because you're thinking about it, you're ruminating it, you're feeling it, and then you're hurting and then you're going back again, then you're in the cycle of forgiveness and forgetting and of you're in the cycle of that's not going to allow you to be released. You're going to be heavy. You're not going to be able to move. So, yes, forgiving one thing, forgetting another. But if the thought of the event grips you apart, you still need some more healing. Because when you forgive, you accept. One of the first things of forgiving is accepting that this thing occurred. Point blank, period. No more justifying, trying to make it right, you're accepting it. Forgetting, on the other hand, is this never happened. It's not possible. First of all, if what the person did left a physical scar, there's no way you can forget because you see the scar all the time. But if every time you see the scar, your blood turns black in your body and you're cussing that person in your head and you're doing this, then you're essentially using what a situation that occurred to to um traumatize is not the word, yeah, to torture yourself. You're torturing your own self by yourself by ruminating those thoughts, and it's coming back and coming back. It's always going to depend on the other person reconciling with you, but I always say keep the door open to reconciliation, because then you are light, you are free to fly. When the person reaches out for that reconciliation, you're ready. But you know you're ready. You put yourself in a place of openness. And I think if we can do that, then we can evolve. Like Beatrice was saying, we're not emotionally at that level yet, which is why I always say we are at the beginning of humanity's evolution. We are at the beginning. We're dealing with poverty in a world that is infinitely rich with resources. God created this world to feed us without us having to do anything, because he gave us the sun to grow the plants. He gave us the rain to water the plants. He gave us the soil to feed the plant, and we can eat the plant. And it's not dependent on us whether the sun wakes up, whether the rain happens, although humans are trying to control those things, but those things are everlasting in our consciousness. We all believe that these things are everlasting because we were born, we died, that's all we know. And that's all we've known, people have known. And we have no indication that it's not. So we can all agree. So we live in a world where that occurs every single day. So we live in a world of infinite richness, but we are poor. People are dying of hunger. How can you die of hunger when food is free? So we are really at the beginning of humanity's evolution, and there's a lot for us to do to reach other heights. All of us. I'm not saying like you. It's humanity as a whole. So now at the School of Superpowers, what we're trying to do is to start talking about those things and challenge ourselves. This I'm not here to challenge nobody here. I'm here to challenge my own self. And then if as I'm challenging myself, you're like, man, that's a kind of a good thing to think about. You challenge yourself. We challenge each other in that way. It's not pointing fingers. So that's what the School of Superpowers is trying to do. Talk about those things and see how we can choose to elevate, choose to go higher so that we can actually stop being in the cycle of the known, all the things that we normally know, that we normally do, that's hard we normally act. That's what I've always known, that's what's always gonna be. That's what I'm talking about. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me see what Ingrid says. I'm taking up all her time. Anyway, I'll give her a few minutes. We're flowing, we're vibing here. This is like a good conversation. Guys, I want you to challenge me. I want you to challenge what I just said. Challenge it. Tell me, like, you know what? No, you are saying all these big, great things, but I still think that it's just better to stay at the level of forgiveness. You know what? As a matter of fact, tell me all the reasons why we should not reconcile. Just give me a few reasons why we should just not reconcile. Don't tell me it's because the person hurt me so much so that no, find a real reason why we should, what generally people just shouldn't, like, give me a general reason. We should not reconcile. Again, as long as the person doesn't want to reconcile with you, then okay. But if you, because remember the quotes, you know what? You know how much I love my quotes. You know that. You guys know that. You guys know it. Let's look at some people who have gone through all these situations and who have had those conversations that we're having in the depth, and have gone through situations and had to actually act through those things in situations that are untenable, unimaginable for us, right? War, I mean, imaginable for us living through them, right? War, uh, 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 injustice. Think about it. Reconciliation means working together to correct the legacy of past injustice. Nelson Mandela. So this is clearly Reconciliation is about mending injustice. And it's always injustice, right? The person did something to you that was unjust, that was not fair. There was not a fair exchange between you and that person at that time. So if we don't work in together to get past that point, then you do to me, I do to you, you do to me, I do to you, and then we just never end. Like what do? We just never end. We just keep going back and forth and we're hurting each other. It's always, in Haiti, they say, oh yes, they're always talking about réconciliation nationale, réconciliation nationale. Mais réconciliation nationale is always said by the person who give the last hit, right? The person who give the last punch. Oh, now, oh, we want to reconcile. We want to reconcile. Kenny, you say some relationships are beyond repair. You know what? I don't know. Again, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Because if Nelson Mandela could forgive and reconcile with people who have hurt him for 26 years straight, torture him, keep him captive, terrorized him and his family and his people, and then he still found a way to reconcile that relationship, I don't know. I don't know that there's some relationships that are beyond repair. If we're talking about, I don't want to pursue this relationship in a romantic way with you, in a business way with you, but I'm talking about whole relationships. I'm talking about severing two things that need to exist one next to each other. I don't know. If I have a child with someone and we both believe in being in that child's life, some people might not believe that. So we both believe that. Now, doesn't it make sense to reconcile? Isn't it like the most, even though whatever the person did to you, whatever it is that the person did to you, isn't it better to reconcile? I'm not saying reconcile and go, I'm not saying I'm saying not having any animosity, not having any fights, not having being able to work with the person to get something done. Isn't it the best thing to do? I don't know. If Nelson Mandela can do it, I don't know. Maybe we should try to get over our little own things. You know, we are living through the highest divorce rates, right? In the world as we know it now. People are divorcing at like alarming rates because people get into relationships and it seems like they're not sticking. Mandela is not pure. Mandela is not pure. Mandela, and that's the problem. You say Mandela is pure, so it means, guys, God created. Yes, no, Jaya, that's the best possible scenario. Two people greatly wanting to work together, yes. But then sometimes look at what, in order sometimes for the reconciliation to actually occur, the person who just got hurt last has to make the first move sometimes, instead of giving it back and then trying to make the and then trying to say he wants to reconcile. That's one thing. We're talking about Mandela is pure. And that's kind of the issue that I feel that I've encountered. I'm writing a poem right now, or maybe a short blog, and I'm writing it as an homage to God's only son. To me, God's only son is God's son. S-U-N, one, son. I don't know, son. God created the earth and put land and put skies and put seas and put plants and put animals and created all these beautiful habitats, and he put humans on them to enjoy the fruits of this land. God put the sun in the universe to help life. God gave us life by giving us the sun, because the sun would not have exist. We would not be alive if the sun did not exist. So the sun is effectively giving us life. Every single day, God does that. Million years later, okay, 1,000 years later, maybe, We're still fighting, killing each other, hurting each other, people suffering from hunger. God is like, wow, I give them the land, the sea, the sun, the moon, the sun to work and play and grow, the sun to rest and relax and restore, the seas to water them and the plants and the food and the land and the fruits. I mean, plants that are like every flavor that you want, you can eat from grass, ground, air, everything, but you're still not happy. And just then did God send Jesus. It's like maybe they didn't understand the message. Maybe let me send a person so the person can talk to them and use words that they can understand. And now Jesus is talking to us. God's only son. God sent him with a mission. Come talk, go talk to them. Maybe help them see. So we're constantly being shown the way of life, but we're still stuck in our infancy in terms of our development and evolution. That's what I think. That's why I keep saying that we are at the beginning of humanity's evolution. And so that's why I don't think that Mandela was pure. Mandela just was connected and he understood, he overstood the assignment. That's what it was. Us, we just take we live in a 3D world. We lock in into our human form. But Mandela went into the fifth dimension. He went into the fifth dimension, so he was able to overstand. We are all capable of that. Mandela did not have a superpower. That's why I created the school of superpowers. It's not to say this person has a superpower, that person doesn't. No, the superpowers are all there. We need to tap into the one that we want or the one that we need. Probably the one that you need first, guys, before I'm a practical person. Get what you need first before you get what you want, okay? Stay alive. So, I don't know. Pure? No. He just accessed a higher level of understanding that we are all capable of accessing. We just have to go through and overcome our own obstacles to get there. That's what I think. Okay. Let me give you another quote. Forgiveness is not an occasional act, it's a constant attitude. Martin Luther King. Again, when we remember what forgiveness is, and he's saying it's not an occasional act, it reminds me of my relationship with myself. Am I going to stop forgiving myself at some point? Or isn't it better for me to continuously forgive myself? I didn't say write off everything I do as a good act, but I'm saying at the end of the day, should I not go through? Even if I don't evolve, even if I don't change and become better, I still need to forgive myself because that's basic self care. So it's not an occasional act, it's a constant act. The reason why we constantly forgive ourselves is because we are the closest person to us we I am the closest person to me, and then I have maybe a significant other, kids. These people are around you constantly, so these people have the highest likelihood and chance of hurting you and hurting your feelings, letting you go, disappointing you. And those people too, you have to continuously forgive. Don't you realize how hard it is your life gets when somebody very close to you, you are unable, like there's a situation that occurred, and you recognize that, man, I need to forget, I need to reconcile because life is untenable because the person is too close to me. Like you realize at some point that it's just the better play is to just forgive the person and really work at reconciling, because ultimately your well-being is at play. Pure consciousness is the form we strive to regain. I like that sentence, but Kenny, you and I'm gonna use different words. Pure consciousness is the form we strive to regain. I don't think that we ever lost it, and I don't know that it's for us to gain. Again, I think it's for us to tap into. It's just still right there in front of us. We need to learn to tap into it. And sometimes we tap into it, sometimes we don't. It's not something for us to hold and to keep and we lose and we lost. No. The more we're connecting with ourselves, the more we can connect with those things. If our goal, and again, part of my personal reflections, and I wrote that in my journal, I said, so maybe the purpose of life, of me living on a daily basis, is to take care of myself, right? I mean, ultimately, is so that I keep myself alive. And then as I'm alive, I choose the type of life I want to live as I'm alive. Isn't it my only objective in this life to take care of myself and and do self-care things? Isn't it self-care? Shouldn't self-care be 95% of the things that I do? And shouldn't we strive for 100%? And I'm going to say why. Because the moment that you're taking care of yourself and that you're loving yourself and you're forgiving yourself, you're going to have a tendency to do the same for others because you understand that feeling. You're tapped into that energy. And as you tap into that energy, you have other people around you. You recognize that they are too the same as you, in the same way you just forgave yourself for what you just did to them. Oftentimes it's to them that you just did it. Something is coming back to you. So then shouldn't we all kind of get along? When they say that? And shouldn't now both of us understand that, learn to understand that individually, but then imagine two people who understand that individually, who are next to each other, how much more caring they are towards each other, how much more supportive and loving they are towards each other. But when you are not generous with yourself, when you believe life to be a certain way and that people need to be a certain way, and you hold yourself to that standard and everybody else, not only are you letting yourself down constantly because you clearly see you're not there, so there's a self hatred that starts there, and then that gets carried through everybody else because they cannot get to that ideal. Isn't it the more we are taking care of ourselves, don't we understand more needs and wants? If I'm taking care of myself and I hear and I understand, well, I not better understand that I need water now. Oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, I'm hungry, but it's because I'm angry. Or I'm angry because I'm hungry. Or you're getting connected with yourself so you regain a better understand so that you can understand the other person. Isn't it kind of how it needs to be? That's what I think. That's really what I think. I think that with looking at it from your standpoint, you see more. And in my reflections, that's kind of what I came up with. It's like maybe the objective is just to take care of myself in the best possible way and make the best possible choices for myself. And so when I put myself in the best place, I give the best of myself to the world. I am at my best self and I'm able to serve the people in the community, in the neighborhood, and the family that I live in. That's what, isn't it why self care should be so primordial? If you're tired, maybe go take a nap. The older you get, the more you know how to take care of yourself because your body speaks to you in loud noises, in a loud voice. Because if we were very conscious early on, we would have understood how we felt. But, as you're getting older, your body speaks to you every day. You don't hear it. Your body starts hurting you. Things start hurting and pain and aches to make you pay attention to it. But if we develop this early on, that's why people are doing biohacking now. That's what they're doing. People are doing biohacking because they understand the process of aging. They understand the importance of mental health in the biohacking scheme. So they understand the power of forgiveness. People like that are into forgiveness. People like because they are releasing every single thing that keeps them heavy. The difference between an adult and then a child is that the child is light. The child moves quickly. But us, we're heavier because we have worries in our minds. The back of our head is heavy. We have things in our minds, and then we heavier because we have so many things that we're carrying that we feel we need to carry. They don't carry anything. A kid, a kid has the ability to be in the present moment more so than us because of all the things that we feel we need to keep being reminded of that worries us. If we did more self care and were more present and give ourselves what we needed at the time, wouldn't we be just better people overall? Again, we're looking for clues and tips on how to just get better so that humanity can evolve. That's really what we're doing. Let's go for another quote because I know I'm taking my favorite people I admire a lot. Let's just put it that way because I don't want to say because these people are not perfect. These people don't think that Nelson Mandela was like a saint. He probably did a lot of bad stuff too. He's human, same as Martin Luther King. So let's not confuse. We can admire and see the action that the person posed by the impact of what their action had in the world. We can measure their success, their contribution to the world by looking at the impact that their actions had on the world and how many people they affected. So maybe look at yourself too. Let's look at ourselves. How many people are we affecting positively? And don't we realize the more people we are impacting in a positive way, our life gets better at the same time, and the life of everybody else gets better. Typically, that's what happens. You see, to be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. Confucius. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. Remembering keeps you in a cycle of suffering. So be careful. When you said, I think Reginald said that, when you said, oh yeah, but forgiveness and forgetting, yeah, but remember, the more that you feel like you need to remember that thing, and it creates the same cycle of distress that you felt when it happened the first time, and you use that as a thing to constantly torture yourself. So be careful with that. you know I'm going to give you another one, which is my favorite, and I promise I'm going to stop with the quotes, by Oprah. Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been any different. Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been any different. It's accepting that this has happened to you, is saying that, okay, I'm trying to keep going back, trying to make it better, but in reality, that's just what it is. It's just what happened is what happened. That's just what happened. And I'm accepting that this happened to me. And that's what's hard because we want to find a scenario in our minds where this did not happen to us. We want to find a scenario in our minds where the hurt that was done to us happened. And we're constantly trying to rethink this to see how we can somehow recreate the story because it's so hard to accept the story and to say, okay, this actually happened to me. And then we go into maybe self blame. Oh, I'm blaming myself. How could I have let this happen to me? Blah, blah, blah. We do that. And then we recognize we need to forgive ourselves and be like, okay, well, this happened. And then so that you can be able to move on and move past it. But when you recognize that the pain is in the space where is in the space that you hold for what you thought or wished had happened and what was taken away from you. That's where the pain is. The pain is sitting in the space that you were holding for that thing that you wanted to happen that did not happen. And you cannot let that go. You cannot let that dream go. You cannot let that wish go. Why did this have to happen when this is what I wanted? I didn't even deserve this. This is what I wanted. Look at what happened. And forgiveness is when you can let that go and be like, yeah, that actually happened, you know? Whew. I'm kind of happy that we went deep into this reconciliation thing because I think for me, when I started doing this research on reconciliation, I didn't think that I was going to side with the people who would believe that reconciliation is essential to the evolution of life. But now I fully believe it, that reconciliation is essential. Now, if you see me tomorrow not reconciling with someone, don't hold me to it because I'm human too. So I'm going through that experience. But isn't it what we should strive for? Shouldn't this be the objective? Isn't it where we're going? I don't know. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. So we know Mahatma Gandhi. So we know, again, we know where these things come from. So we're all here with you. We empathize. It's hard for everyone. But ultimately, reconcile with yourself. When you finish forgiving yourself for that thing that is hard for you to accept, for that hard feeling that you don't want to feel because you don't want to feel, well, yeah. When you finish accepting that, and then you get to a place where you give yourself a chance again to possibly fail, because in your mind you might think it's to possibly fail because you don't really trust yourself because you actually let yourself down already, and you give yourself a chance, and then you do it, and then you see that you have actually surpassed your expectations, then the relationship with yourself is restored. But to restore the relationship with yourself, you have to constantly never give up. You see, you see the thing, when people say, "Yeah, you have to, you shouldn't give up." These are the reasons why you would have to constantly never give up, because your goal is to restore that relationship with yourself. Your goal is to strive to get to there. So then you should just never give up because you're continuously working towards something. Guys, that's how I want to close the reconciliation chapter. I'm not going to say we will never talk about it again, but we will move on to a different theme in next 2 weeks. Unless maybe Ingrid joins us next week and we can finish the conversation with her, because I was really curious to hear what she was going to have to say about reconciliation. I was really looking forward to it. But, again, she's in Switzerland and we don't know what's going on. Again, the planets are aligned in such a crazy way. She might just have the time wrong, the date wrong, and you don't know. The planets are really in a funky way, in a funky place. Maybe one day I'll do a little astrology, live, guys, because this thing is real. This thing is real. Anyway, guys, I think that's how I'm gonna leave you. 9 o'clock on the dot. I'm gonna leave you. Oh, how about, guys? I think I just might have seen. Is it in good that just popped up? I was about to close the chat, close the live. In good. Let's see. I'm not sure, but guys, that's how I'm gonna leave this. Um, let's continue on. That's all I can say. Let's try to make choices that help us move forward. Let's try to make choices that help us grow better, right? And let's try not to keep saying the same things. Oh, this is how it's done. No, no, no. Right? Let's try to maybe look for things that what you want is on the other side of something you never done before. Most of the things that you want are on the other side of something that you've never done before. A lot of the things that you've never done before scare you. A lot of the things that you've never done before, you don't do because you are uncomfortable doing them, because you don't believe you can have them, because they are hard for you, right? But guess what? The thing that you want the most is on the other side of what you've never done before, of what is hard for you to do. Reason, never to let go. Get into a space where you are uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. I've been challenging myself. The thing is hard. Get uncomfortable and accept the feeling and get to your dreams. Reach your dreams. Don't not do something because you are uncomfortable. Don't let your opportunities pass a chance. Don't let fear stop you from doing what you want to do. But here's what I mean when I say don't let fear stop you. I'm not saying do not feel fear. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't let it stop you, meaning go through the fire and burn. Just burn. Just tell yourself, I'm just going to burn. I'm not going to die, right? When you're in a dream and it's a scary dream and you're not going to die, so you feel safe by it, you're not going to die. Whenever you go through those things, just tell yourself, I'm not going to die. Do it even though you feel fear. Do it while you feel fear. Do not let fear of discomfort stop you from doing something that you deeply want to do inside of you, that you want to try to do. Accept the fear, recognize it, but do it anyway. Okay? Guys, that's all I have. It was not a long live. You know how much I love talking a lot, but today's just a little mellow. You see my energy is mellow. It's a mellow thing. Even probably in again. I see Ingrid right here in the lobby, but I can't really see her camera. I can't hear the audio. So it's like things are happening. So let's just take care of ourselves. Let's just be chill. Take a break if you need to take a break. I've been taking breaks. I don't take breaks normally, but I've been taking breaks. Don't. Oh, Ingrid, you're sending me a message. Mais Ingrid, 20 heures. Mais il est 21 heures, Ingrid, chérie. Oh, ils ont changé l'heure, Ingrid. Ingrid, ils ont changé l'heure aux États-Unis. C'est ça, Ingrid. Ingrid, I'm so sorry. Poor you. So you are on time right now. You are on time. Non, ils ont changé l'heure depuis le week-end passé. Okay, I'm so sorry. See? Guys, I was just telling you about the planets. Did I not just tell you? Ingrid lives in Switzerland, but Ingrid communicates with this side all the time. The planets are aligned in a way that weird little things are happening. Today is Wednesday, and she's kind of now catching on to it. I bet she's making connections of a bunch of other things that probably happened. The planets are in a funky place. Take care of yourselves. Me, I'm not even gonna talk too long. I'm gonna chill out. I'm gonna take that energy and meditate. No, Ingrid, you know what? I was just telling the people that we might have one last show in 2 weeks, and we said we were not going to talk about reconciliation unless you're coming back. So maybe make some time for us. Come back in 2 weeks. On va toujours être en mars, comme ça on pourra close the month of March talking about reconciliation. Okay? But thank you so much. At least I know you're okay, because I was like, what's going on? Something is happening. I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad that there's an explanation for it. Mais je suis vraiment contente, t'étais vraiment à l'heure, là, t'étais pile poil. 21 heures. Okay. So c'est ça, guys. I'm gonna go take care of myself. I'm gonna go chillax. And I hope you do the same thing. And maybe that's gonna be part of that mending, right? Is to stop the fight, and just chillax, chill out. Okay? I love you all. I love talking to you, and I love how you guys interacted with me today. Thank you, all of you guys who participated. I love doing it like that, actually, because it gives me a chance to connect. Good night, Regina. Good night, Jaya, Beatrice. Um, I had a bunch of people. Uh, Kenny, Risha. Who else? Me too. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being there with me. In the next 2 weeks, I'm coming. And guys, let me know. I'm just kind of dealing with this background right now. Man, I don't like to see the ring right here. It's kind of strange. So I would have to almost like be like this. You saw me sitting a bit strange. I'm still working on my backgrounds, but you're going to see some beautiful things coming up, because I'm working hard on some things. I have something right here. I have something right here. I have something right here. So we're gonna have some nice. Clarice, hi. That's my queen right there, who gave me a beautiful gift for my birthday. I was just so blessed, so blessed, so blessed. So yes, Clarice, good night, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'm leaving next time. I'm hoping Ingrid is gonna be on, so we're gonna have this conversation. But I want to have more conversations like this with you, where you guys are interacting with me, giving me questions, and we're discussing and we're pushing the conversation forward. We're challenging each other so we can see how things can make better sense. Okay? I love you all, guys. Good night. Talk to you very, very soon.